So I've been feeling under the weather this week, and it's cold, so I thought it was a good time to make some kombu shiitake soup. So I'm gonna make that tonight. I've already soaked the kombu and the shiitake since this morning, so hopefully the flavor should be nice. I just gotta boil it and add some other bits and it'll be good and hopefully nourishing and fulfilling. So I've got all the ingredients I need here, I think, unless I come up with anything else, for my kombu shiitake soup. I also put some miso in there, so I could just call it miso soup because kombu and shiitake is kind of a base stock anyway for Japanese cooking. I'm going to do the best I can. I don't know a lot about Japanese cooking, but I know that I do like it, and it's something that agrees with me as well. So I've got some green beans, a carrot, 2 potatoes, because I'm making this for my husband as well probably, so I know he likes them. A swede, some broccoli. In here I've got some shiitake mushrooms that I've been soaking. They look absolutely awesome. A little bit of a stir. And I've got some dry kombu here just to show you what it looks like. And I'll show you the soaked one. So if you imagine big long strands of seaweed growing from the sea bottom, this is what it is. I can't really do that with one hand, but it's long strips of kombu seaweed, and the white stuff on there is some kind of crystallization that apparently is good for flavor. So the more crystallized it is, even though it looks a bit funky, the better it is. And so the internet tells me, and you know, whatever's on the internet is true. So I've got those. That's my original dry shiitake mushrooms that I just got from my local Asian grocer, which luckily in Sydney we have lots of, and you can get all manner of things from all kinds of Asian countries. It's pretty awesome. In here I have the kombu. It's been soaking since about 9 o'clock this morning. It looks pretty gross, but I assure you it's not. And you've probably had it before and not even known. If I lift that up, you can see it's actually making me feel a bit sick watching that. Yeah, you can see what it looks like, and the water is a kind of green colour as well. So all we do is we put that on the heat, and we don't want to boil it for this one. We just want to bring it to the boil and then let it simmer for about 5 minutes. Apparently that is the optimal time for making a beautiful kombu. So once that's done, I'll chuck in my shiitake as well and let that simmer for a little bit just to get the flavours out. And then I'll take the kombu out, the actual seaweed, and put that aside. You can eat that, but apparently it's quite rubbery if you don't prepare it properly, and because I don't pretend to know exactly what I'm doing, I'm not going to do that. So all I gotta do is chop up my veg, do that, then put some miso in. I've just got the blue miso, hikari miso. I've got some sesame oil, which is easy to find, black pepper and some salt, because I'm not keen on soy sauce, so I'm just going to use that to kind of salt it up a bit. So let's get going. Thinking about the kind of veg I'm putting in this Japanese kombu, and swede doesn't seem too Japanese, but I don't care, you know, it's really nice. Reminds me of kind of British food, so makes me happy. Potato probably, in fact hardly any of these vegetables are Japanese, but, or something that they might use. But today that's what I fancy, and you know, I kind of would use kombu stock as a base for vegetarian cooking anyway, instead of buying cartons of vegetable stock, which quite often have a lot of sugar and other kind of crap in them. This is a good way of doing that with, and still get that kind of hearty vegetable stock. The key is to get it to a point that's strong enough. You know, I'm still experimenting with my stock, so sometimes it can be weak. You know, you need to put quite a bit of salt in it to kind of liven it up a bit. But you know, it's all trial and error. I'm just going to kind of go with it, and it always ends up being pretty nice. And if I don't like it, well, there's always toast. If my husband doesn't like it, he can make his own bloody toast. So I've got the kombu on a high heat to try and bring it to the boil. It's come out of the fridge, so it's going to take bloody ages. So just let that go. Keep an eye on it though, because if it does apparently boil too long or boil at all, it will go bitter. So we'll just let that go. The kombu is starting to come to the boil. That was Mabel sneezing, as you can see. But just going to keep that lid on to make sure it comes right up, and then I'm going to take that kombu straight up, and I'm going to sieve, with a fine sieve, the shiitake broth into that as well. And then I'm going to use the shiitake as well in the soup, so I'm going to cut it up. Any woody stems I'll get rid of. Bubbling now. I'm going to take that out. Look how long it is. Imagine that coming from the ocean on the floor. The floor of the ocean. Oh my god. There we go. So, just going to put that aside. So I'm going to sieve my shiitake in there, because sometimes there's grit and things like that in there. So we just want to take that out. And shake. And then I'm going to quickly put the lid back on and bring that back to the boil. So I've got my kombu and shiitake stock in there, so I just need to pop in my veg. I'm going to chuck in the seaweed first, without burning myself. And just give that a couple of minutes ahead of everything else, because it is quite firm, and you don't want to overcook it, but if you undercook it, it is rubbish. So just get that lid on there and turn up a bit, because I have to turn it down for the kombu, because it's getting a bit crazy. I'm just going to roughly chop up my shiitake mushrooms. Sometimes the stems are a bit woody, but these ones seem alright. It's possibly because they're quite small. Actually, I can't get the knife through that one, so I've just contradicted myself already. So I'm just going to cut around that one. Oh well, who cares? If you're eating it, it's too hard to spit it out. So, roughly chop them, and they'll go in last, just to kind of heat through, and they'll, you know, extract any more flavour out of it. There was a campaign in Australia called Meat for Vegetarians, which was about mushrooms. Load of crap, but I think maybe shiitake is probably the closest you're going to get to a meaty mushroom, because the flavour is quite strong and lovely. The sweet's been in there a few minutes now, so I'm just going to chuck the rest of my potato and carrot in there. Bring it up to the boil again. And then for the last kind of couple of minutes, I'll chuck in my broccoli, and it's got the runner beans in there. And then last but not least, I'll put the mushroom in. And then very last, I'm going to put some miso in, just to kind of bulk it out a bit, give it a bit more flavour. That also acts as a salt as well, so I'll do that before I add any of the pink Himalayan salt, and then kind of go from there. This tiny creature follows me around everywhere, like a little puppy, don't you, Mabel? Hey? Oh no, she's a bit camera shy actually. It's a bit weird, because every other moment of the day she's constantly wanting attention, except when there's a camera. Hey? Yeah. If you ever hear her in the background, that's because she's just following me around everywhere. So the vegetables are cooking away in the miso and the kombu and shiitake stock, and they're pretty much done. So I'm going to chuck in my shiitake now. Even though I said it was going to be last minute, I think if I put them in now, I'll get some more flavour out, and you can't overcook them, so we'll just chuck it in. I'm also going to chuck in the broccoli and beans, and then just kind of wait until they go a bright green, and it's basically done veg-wise. And then I'm just going to put a couple of toppings on top. So bring that back to the boil, and it should be good. Just going to chuck some black pepper into the soup. Kind of like to grind it away from the soup with the lid on, because otherwise you get the moisture in there. I think black pepper is going to really bring the flavour out. I've taken the heat down because when I put the miso in, I don't want it to be too hot, because there is actually good bacteria in here. And I just dropped it on the counter, so it's probably completely ruined now. So to try and retain the good bacteria, I don't want it really boiling. A spoon and kind of mix it like that in the water in the ladle. Otherwise you'll just get a huge lump of miso in the bottom of your soup and just do a shitload of it. I'm sorry if you can't see that, but this is the only way I can do it. It's finally finished. It looks really good. I've got quite a lot in there. You could probably put noodles in there as well, and tofu. And if you do eat meat or fish, you can chuck anything you want in there, really. So I'm just going to put a couple of drops of sesame oil on top. It's super strong, so it doesn't need much. You can put it in the main bowl as well, but I think it kind of dissipates for me after a while, so I like it real fresh and punchy. Let's give this sucker a try. Looks great. I could probably put some more miso in there and more shiitake as well. But the kombu is really good. Does taste oceany, but not fishy like I was smelling before. I think maybe it'd be nice with some bamboo shoots as well, something like that. There's so many different things. If you make tempura vegetables or something like that at home, you could put that in. Some nori on the top would be nice, some toasted nori. So many different things you can do. Or you can just use that stock without any of that veg for cooking. So yeah, it turned out really well. Hopefully my husband likes it. If he doesn't, it is toast for him.